Graduation is a true benchmark for so many, as it marks the close of one exciting chapter and the opening of a bright new beginning. In today's segment of Eye on St. Lucie, we discuss this year's graduation events with Dr. Kevin Perry and share some of the important tips that will help make this an A-plus experience for you and your family. Well, Dr. Perry, it seems like just moments ago that we said our final congratulations to students as they cross the stage from the class of 2016, and here it is again. We're ready to welcome our class of 2017 across the stage and see them on their way to college and career readiness as they embark upon their new journey and a new chapter in their life. And we've been preparing for this since really the beginning of the school year.
Well, yes, but just as soon as graduation was over last year, we began to have conversations about graduation for the 2017 school year. So it was as if when one ended, we start prepping and planning for the next one to come.
You know, you're absolutely right. I do remember those conversations, but why so early? Why is it important to do that?
Well, we have close to 3,000 students that graduate every year. Being able to accommodate them, their parents, keeping the dignity and the reverence that is associated with graduation. And we have this thing in St. Lucie County where we're always trying to be better than we previously were. I'm sure we're going to talk about graduation rates and how they're on the rise from last year to this year. So when we think about the conversations that we have with our colleagues, with our students and our staff members, but most so with our partners and our parents, we begin to say we need to make sure that they're informed about everything that's a part of our educational system as much and as often as we possibly can.
Well, you're absolutely right. And listening to our business partners, listening to our parents, there are some changes this year based upon some of those comments that have come in, and they're really significant, which is truly one of the reasons we began planning and publishing those dates and locations so very early this school year, because as early as really the fall, we started publishing dates and locations of this year's event, which are significantly different. Would you like to go into some detail there?
Well, that is correct. When we think about trying to accommodate those requests, being realistic with the capacities that we have in the locations that are available, it again causes us to plan and prepare as early as possible. As you mentioned, some of the changes this year is that we generally graduate at the Adams Arena because its ability to accommodate as many people as we possibly can in one location for graduations. This year we're adding a second site, which is the Finn Center for some of our graduations. When you think about the size of our graduation classes, it kind of dictates what else could occur as far as patrons with our graduation ceremonies. So this year what we're going to do is we're going to have two of our graduations again at the Adams Arena. And that's for our senior classes that are the largest. That school would be Fort Pierce Central High School and Treasure Coast High School. And I'm thinking that both of those classes have over 600 students graduated alone. And then our four other schools will graduate from the Finn Center. That will be Lincoln Park Academy, Westwood High School, Centennial High School, and Port St. Lucie High School. So instead of one location, we're actually going to be in two locations. In the past, we've had graduation start early in the morning only on one day. Last year, with the inclement weather, it actually forced us to change graduation from an evening to the morning. And we scrambled trying to put all of the pieces together, the logistics, all of the details to make graduation appear as if it was planned for that next morning. And with the fantastic direction that we have from our wonderful superintendent, Mr. Jent, as well as those of us that plan and prepare graduation, the background details and logistics that had already gone into place, it was really just a time change. But it also gave us an opportunity to test run, to pilot what we're going to see this year, because our graduations will not just be on one morning as previously, but it will be on 3 mornings, which means we have to do different kinds of coverage in schools and things like that to make sure that graduation still goes off without a hitch for our wonderful students and their parents.
And that is true. Making sure that we've got covered facilities, because that was key in looking for an alternate facility. And you know, I think that's very important to note. Even with inclement weather, sometimes it is a challenge, and you know, we have to look at parking and everything else. And I think it's important to note that you and the team that really canvassed the community for locations that were prime for our students and our parents in order to determine places that were alternatives, yet prime places that were convenient and conducive for these type of ceremonies that were dignified. We put a lot of thought into that before we made the shift, and at the same time willing to accommodate patrons of all needs, because we know that parking is important. Making sure that if we need to have a trolley,
there is a trolley.
yes, indeedy, because you all have thought of everything.
we hope we have. Not going.
Well, the other thing is, you mentioned our staff that works together to collaborate and
Yes.
cover. So with some of the daytime activities, we've got team members coming in to support classrooms. We've got team members coming in to support security. We've got team members coming in to support our students as they move on and off the stage. And of course, our wonderful WLX team is there to set up and take down from one venue to the next, as well as our facilities and maintenance team. This is going to be an event that is to be remembered, because, as you said, it's a dignified event. It's a benchmark event for our students and our families, and that's one of the reasons we're here today, because there are some tips for our families that we want to make sure that everyone is aware of.
Graduation has always occurred before the very last day of school. But with this graduation, we're making sure that we have coverage in academic classes because administrators may be off their regular campus. We have trained, certified administrators that are recent and will continue to cover schools so that we won't miss a beat on as far as the educational process and those things that happen academically on our campuses as well. You also mentioned the very dynamic WLX TV, as well as our maintenance staff. We partner with the Sheriff's Department. They have their explorers, our security, making sure that things are nice, in order, calm, peaceful for our staff members. Our friends in the county at the fairground, as well as the Fin Center, do a marvelous job in helping us with those facilities to make sure that they're comparable to all of our needs.
Right. And so with the setup and takedown, we know that the various facilities have different seating capacities.
Yes.
Our schools have different populations with
Correct.
students, and then that equates to different
Yes.
tickets.
Yes.
Now, the tickets are barcoded, and it's important that every single person attending this graduation event, parents, children,
Every breathing
babies,
person needs a ticket to
everyone
attend.
needs a ticket.
Yeah, there's not an arbitrary number when you look at the venues that we have. And then when you take that number that the venues would accommodate, and then you look at the number of students for those graduating classes, those two things dictate the number of tickets that could be and would be available to the students. For instance, when you have a class such as Treasure Coast High School with over 600 students graduating, the tickets that they may get will not be as many as the students from, let's say, a Westwood High School that may only have 230 students graduating. So because of the smaller number of students graduating at that location, those students are allowed to get more tickets. so that we can make sure that we stay within the regulations for that finite number that the buildings will occur.
Okay, so if someone has a question about how many tickets their child gets for their particular high school graduation ceremony, it's important that they not just ask a neighbor or a friend whose child may go to another school. It's important that they go to the locations. For example, on our St. Lucie Public School website,
Correct.
on the homepage, there's graduation information. There's a link. You click onto that. You can go straight to your child's high school, and then there's specific information related to your child's high school graduation, number of tickets, etc.
Time, location. In addition to that, we have Facebook, we have Twitter, we have our webpage, we have the school's webpage. In addition, all schools have a senior class sponsor. That sponsor has had information for months. They have been circulating that information with their students and passing that information on to their staff members so that everyone is well aware of, number one, the change in location, two, the time changes, as well as the facilities constraints on the number of patrons that we can have in each facility.
Right. And again, we've had it at the arena for several years now, but you know what? Change is good. Sometimes change is difficult because it's different, but change is good, and this change is based on feedback we've had over the years, and we are going to work to make this a very positive year, and we've worked very difficult all throughout the year. We have been publishing this information since the fall, and here's one more bit of good news, and I don't even know if this is something that you have experienced from other graduations in other counties, but this is the first year that St. Lucie Public Schools
Yes.
is live streaming graduations on Facebook and through the WLX TV education channel. So if perhaps you don't feel that you have sufficient number of tickets for everyone in your extended family to see this, there's still an opportunity for all of those members to see this live via Facebook or via WLX TV education channel.
That's just another thing that we're doing, trying to accommodate our community citizens. And we have always had limited amount of tickets. So everyone that might have wanted to come never really was able to come. But with us live streaming and on YouTube, it's the perfect time for those persons that can't come to all get together and maybe have a watch party and still celebrate the graduation of that person that's near and dear to them as well.
And that's a fun idea, a watch party.
Yes.
I like
yes.
that.
I think we can do that. And then when we think about it, it may be new to us, but it's not necessarily new in other places where there's a limit, where there's a different kind of location. Some schools graduate outside but still have limited amount on a football field, limited amount of seating because they only use one side of their football field, that kind of thing. So, but we're taking that extra step with our live streaming by WLX TV, the wonderful crew here, and giving those kind of opportunities to kind of take graduation into homes and in different places at the spare of the moment. Live TV. Okay.
All right, so I want to ask you something, and this is based on, again, feedback that we've had from some of our patrons in the past. There are a couple of things that have come to our attention. In large audiences, when there's a celebration, we want to celebrate. It's so important that we celebrate. It's a dignified ceremony. There are times when balloons become an obstacle to vision. There are times when balloons are let go, and unfortunately they get caught in fans and they create a noise that is a distraction. And during a ceremony, there's nothing we can do to eliminate that noise. There are times when air horns become a distraction to hearing a student's name being called. And that's unfortunate because there's one opportunity to hear a child's name called during that very, very prestigious event. What is the policy and the recommendation for those type of things during this very prestigious one time in a student's life event in St. Lucie County?
Ms. Patrick, you're correct. Graduations are a very dignified ceremony, elite ceremony, very reverent ceremony. And oftentimes we're finding that some of our students are still the first in their families to actually graduate high school. So it's a monumental occasion for those students and their families as well. And so there's a policy that there will be no air horns, there will be no balloons, no posting of signs on walls and things like that in the arena or the Finn Center at our graduations. The last thing we want is for someone to, for Carrie Patrick's family to see Carrie moving to the stage and the announcer says, Carrie Patrick, and because of the air horns or because of the noise or because of the balloons getting caught in the fans and popping, no one hears Carrie's name. We want to make it a celebration where everyone can be there and still recognize that person that's near and dear to them that's graduating as well. So no balloons, no air horns, those kinds of things will be allowed in the arena or the Finn Center for this graduation.
So there's time for that afterward?
Yeah.
At some of those family events and
Some
celebrations
of those watch
after the
parties
ceremony?
and things like that, right?
Okay.
Because we also know that many of our parents, many of our families get together for lunch or for dinner or for something where people that were not at graduation again all come together to celebrate that monumental occurrence with that person and their family.
Okay, all right, wonderful. And again, those type of suggestions, those type of policies, reminders are again posted on Facebook,
Yes.
on our district page. They've been reminded, students have been reminded of that to share with their families on more than one occasion over and over and over again. So this is not a surprise. This is something that is an expectation for the graduation event.
There is one message that is going out from the district concerning those things, because even though we have different graduations, we want the logistics and the operational aspect of those graduations to all occur in a very similar manner.
Okay, that's outstanding. So we start with Fort Pierce Central.
We start with Fort Pierce Central. Well, graduations occur the week of May 22nd
22nd.
through the 26th, May 22 through 26. But the actual first graduation occurs on May 23rd, and we do start with Fort Pierce Central High School at the Adams Arena at 8:30 that morning.
Okay. And this is the class of 2017.
Yes.
Class of 2017, we know that there are great expectations for them. St. Lucie Public Schools has already had some benchmark achievements.
Yes.
We look at some of the things that have been accomplished this year that we have celebrated as a district. Looking at our graduation rate currently, we are at 86.8%, rising 13, let's see, that's how
From 45th?
from 45th to
Right.
13th in the state.
In
We're the fourth.
Let's say that again, from 45th in the state. There's 67 districts,
Yes,
okay?
67
And we
districts.
were 45.
And
But
now we are 13.
as far as graduation rates are concerned.
And we have the fourth largest gain in the state.
Yes.
That is amazing.
Amazing.
And really, if you want to take it a step further, for a district our size with 500 graduates or more, we were the #1 ranking district as far as making gains.
And see, that's monumental. But it only shows the great work that's going on with our administrators, with our faculty and staffs, and the kind of dedication that we have to ensuring that students are as prepared as they possibly can for what I like to term as their what's next. Their what's next could be college, it could be career, it could be military. We're making sure that students have those opportunities in our schools to be the brightest and the best that they possibly be, so that they can go on and achieve those other things that they have as their goals.
And what's also exciting is that last year we had over $26 million in scholarships awarded, and I cannot wait to see some of the numbers that come in this year. Already we know that there have been some stellar accomplishments with our historically black colleges and university college and career fair, and that was just scratching the surface. These numbers are starting to come in already as our guidance counselors are working with our students, and they're starting to accept scholarships to Ivy League colleges, to some of the academies. And had a young gentleman this morning speak to some of our realtors about where he is off to. Our students are fantastic, and they are going to come back to this county and make a difference.
As you mentioned, it's that time of the year, and we have students that apply to many different colleges. You specifically mentioned the HBCU success that we've had. There is one application where a student can apply to 50 schools based on that one application for HBCUs. We have students that have been selected to Ivy League schools such as Yale, Princeton. In-state, they're going to University of Florida, Florida State, University of Central Florida. They're going to HBCUs like Florida A&M University, Florida Memorial, Bethune-Cookman University, Howard University, Spelman. So we have just taken the stance that we're going to expose our students to as many different opportunities as they possibly can. We have students that have joined all branches of the military, the Army, the Air Force, the Navy, the Marines, Coast Guard, in efforts to get to, like I mentioned earlier, their what's next.
Mm-hmm. And let's not forget those who are getting certifications in their career and technical. We have over 51% of our students in high school participating in at least one career and technical academy, and they are completing with 97% completion rate their certifications. And that means they are having
They're job
positive
ready.
experiences. Yes, they are leaving high school with certifications to move into high demand careers. You know, this is about college and career readiness.
Mhm. Yeah, what happens with those CTE courses is that students get a certification that they might end up getting if they went to a trade school or to a two-year school, but it's right there doing their high school career, which means once they leave, they're certified to go work as a nurse's assistant or something like that. So they jump right into the world of work and making a pretty decent salary in doing so.
Or here's one thing too they can do. Not only do they have the opportunity to jump into the world of work, they have the opportunity to jump into college and have work skills so that they can work their way through college efficiently while working toward even a higher degree for a higher paying job.
Again, those other opportunities that are provided to students so that, again, like I mentioned, I like to call it your what's next. They can always get to, there's a path for them to be able to get to their what's next and achieve what they've set out to accomplish.
A success path.
Yes.
We set them up for a success path. I think that's outstanding.
Yes.
All right, so as we set them up for that success path, and we are working to set up a successful graduation ceremony, let's review just one more time some of those key things that our parents and our community need to remember about this year's 2017 graduating class so that it is a wonderful experience for all.
Well, we have to remember that graduation this year won't be in just one location. It's in 2 locations. So you need to make sure that you know which location that school is going to hold their graduation for your child, so where it is. It will either be the Adams Arena at the fairground or the Finn Center. Keep in mind that we start graduations generally on time, but parking, travel to those places, you have to build in that time so that you can arrive, be there, get seated in time enough before graduations start. Graduations, the doors open for graduation 1 hour prior to graduation. So if graduation starts at 8:30, for instance, at the Adams Arena, the doors will open at 7:30. So patrons can get in, get seated, be comfortable and ready for those preliminary kinds of things that also happen as a part of us celebrating students and their accomplishments at graduation. Everyone, every breathing soul must have a ticket. That's capital letter. Everyone must have a ticket, no matter what the venue is, the Finn Center or the Adams Arena, you must have a ticket. Mom, dad, adult, child, baby must have a ticket to enter the graduation ceremonies. But again, another aspect of graduation this year is our live streaming and YouTubing, which is going to give another opportunities for everyone in St. Lucie County to actually see and experience as many of the graduations as they possibly can. This year there is a no air horn and balloon policy as well, because we want to make sure that some of the things that have happened previously, we try to do our best to limit those things from occurring as we celebrate the successes of these students.
Okay. Well, Dr. Perry, I'm going to share with you that I have my ticket so that I can get in the door for graduation, and I look forward to seeing you with your ticket so that you can get in the door at graduation. And I'm going to leave my balloons at home, and I am going to make sure that my family has the access to watch this graduation as it is live streamed, because it's always something very fun. And for those who are graduating from Mosaic, from performance-based, and from some of our other outstanding sites here in St. Lucie County. Would you like to share where those graduations will be held?
I would, if it's okay, Ms. Patrick. I want to give a rundown of all of those dates and times
Okay.
and include those. We know about the 6 comprehensive high schools that will graduate the week of the 22nd through the 26th. But we have 3 other schools that you mentioned: Accelerated Academy, Performance-Based Preparatory Academy, as well as Mosaic Digital Academy that will graduate. So we actually have 9 graduations that will occur. On the 23rd at the Adams Arena at 8:30 a.m., it will be Fort Pierce Central High School. On that same day, May 23rd at 2 o'clock at the Adams Arena, will be Treasure Coast High School. We skip Wednesday. Wednesday is a setup day, but on the 25th at 8:30 a.m. at the Finn Center will be Lincoln Park Academy, and at 1:30 on the 25th will be Westwood High School. Friday morning at 8:30 at the Finn Center will be Centennial High School, and Friday afternoon at 1:30 will be Port St. Lucie High School. Fast forward to the next week, May 31st. All 3 of these are at Lincoln Park Academy, starting at 8:30 with Accelerated Academies, 11 o'clock with Performance-Based Prep, and 2 o'clock for Mosaic Digital.
Well, thank you for that rundown, Dr. Perry. We will remember that, and we look forward to a wonderful season of graduations.
It's a great celebration for our students and for their families. We're putting some things into place to make sure that we keep with the dignity and the reverence of graduation, but also to make it conducive to as many people as we possibly can, adding on things so that we can all celebrate these wonderful accomplishments of these outstanding students who are guaranteed to take the world by storm.
It's always wonderful to have you here. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure.
That's all for our show today. Thank you for joining us. And remember to follow us, like us, and watch us on our social media. And remember to keep your eye on St. Lucie.